Okay, we're gonna get this going. It is 12 noon. I want to welcome everyone to our first Smoothment Q&A Smooth panel presented by Dance Fishing and Global Smooth System. But before we get started, I want to thank for my amazing Dance Fishing staff, Morgan, Ariano, and Jason for putting all this together. Thank you, team. I really feel I'm blessed with my entire Dance Fishing staff. They keep this everything going for me. They make me look good. So thank you very much. I'm Wayne Eng, CEO and President of Dance Fishing and Executive Director of DaVita. Dance Fishing is a global leader in ballroom educational materials. We're the founder of the Dance Fishing syllabus. Our smooth syllabus is the leading smooth style used in over 400 studios worldwide. This time, I'd like to introduce our amazing host, Jonathan Roberts, former U.S. champion, co-organizer of Ballroom Beach Bash, Hollywood Dance Sport, been on Dancing with the Stars, and is a promoter of smooth style worldwide and was instrumental in putting smooth exhibition at the Blackpool Festival, which got this all going. And most recently with Jonathan, with Toni Redpath and Michael Mead, they started the Global System, which uses smooth movement and presentation elements that are organized in a natural and progressive way to teach everyone worldwide. And you know how simple that system is? Toni taught that to me in 15 minutes, and now I can coach worldwide. No applause for that? Jonathan, take over. It's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Wayne. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here today in these COVID times. It's so exciting to see smooth exploding around the world. As all of us know, smooth styles have been danced for many, many years, and starting as a social dance style, and now we've seen it grow and become more and more competitive in the last 20 to 30 years because of so many of the people here in this room. And as we say, the smoothment is getting bigger and bigger all over the world. It's just amazing to be a part of this and see this style grow. Before we start the questions and answers, I just wanted to kind of acknowledge all of the great smooth champions we have here with us. So I'm just going to go down the list here. So we have 2 times US smooth champion, Olga Foraponova, 3 times US smooth champion, David Hambone Hamilton, 4 times world finalist and US smooth vice champion, Tatiana Seliverstova, 4 times world and US smooth champion, Nick Cheremukhin Viktorija, to Mark Proctor. 4 times US smooth champions, Toni Redpath and Michael Mead. 4 times US smooth champions, Marzena and Slawek, Sochacki, sorry, Marzena, Stachura. US smooth champion, Teresa Shiry. 5 times US world and black belt smooth finalists, Yegor, Novikov, and Alexandra Smirnova. 2 times US smooth champions, Jim and Jenell Maranto. US smooth champion, Edward Simon. 2 times US smooth champion, JT Tomas. And 2 times US smooth champions, Nick and Lena Kosovich. That's a pretty amazing panel. Let's do all a soft golf clap so we don't blow our speakers out. For everybody here watching and listening, thank you so much for all your great questions. We received so many. We worried about time. We just selected basically 15 questions that we're going to focus on for the next hour. Depending on how long it takes, at the end of the session, I know everyone has a lot of schedules, but we may be able to just kind of open up and answer a few of the questions we didn't get to. So we'll see how that goes. We do ask, if you're not muted, just go ahead and mute yourself just in case we don't get a bunch of feedback noise as we go through. So let's go ahead and start with our first question here. This is from Karen. And the question is, what changes have you seen in the American smooth style over the years? Have those changes helped or hindered developing quality dancers in the style? And this is for, we'll give it to Jim and Jenell Maranto.
Okay, I'll go first and then Jim can go afterwards. I'm really interested to see what everybody else has to say about it. it has been a really long time for us. But in our day, we felt that Smooth was 50% ballroom and 50% open work, sort of like a smooth Latin type movement with connections and unknown terms and so forth. And nowadays, it seems like it's mostly open with a little bit of ballroom in it. So I feel, and in terms of, do I think it's helped or hindered the changes and the differences? I do think that the open work, and I think Smooth, actually I think American Smooth is probably the most popular event in the ballroom field. And so it does offer a lot more opportunity for expression because you can open up and you're not always in the hold. But I do think that it's making ballroom take a little bit of a back seat, that we don't see as much ballroom. And when you're teaching, sometimes you feel like, well, maybe they should just go to a ballroom or to a ballet studio. Why don't people go more to ballet and not take ballroom? It has offered more opportunity for the Latin people, the Latin coaches, to teach the Smooth style, because it does actually have both. And I'd like to see it have a little more ballroom in it. But to me, I still think it's developing good dancers, maybe more opportunity to do different things and not just ballroom. However, I really do feel that there's a lot of opportunity to be expressive within the hold, within the ballroom hold. So having it be half and half, to me, seems like that keeps the ballroom studios busy and working. Whereas maybe if it goes too far the other direction, it might not. So
Smooth dancers have to have lessons with everybody.
yeah, right. So
All
okay,
right.
we'll pass it on to Jim.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jenell stole my theme. No, just kidding. When we were competing, it was very ballroom oriented. And I remember when we first won, one of our competitors said, oh, now that Jim and Jenell Maranto won, everyone's gonna have to do the perfect twinkle. But I sort of prided ourselves on the basic ballroom skills. And all these years later, like now 38 years of dancing for me, I can still dance hard and dance well because the foundation of what we do in the ballroom style and the ease of what we do has maintained both our ability to teach and still dance at a high level. So the changes I see are great in the standpoint of creativity and so many people doing, really testing the envelope of what's possible with the two bodies together. But by that same token, the downfall is that you lose some of the, I think sometimes the simplicity, and sometimes things get distorted. And then with technology so great, you can watch anybody at any time. So then people start to copy instead of know how things were created from within their own body. So although the changes are fabulous in terms of creativity, I think sometimes the base technical factor and the ballroom underlying quality can often get lost in the content. So that's basically what we view, coming from the oldest ones here.
Well, that's why we wanted your valued wisdom there, as having seen the style develop so much. Thank you, Jim and Jenell. All right, let's go into our second question. This is from Helena Weaver. What are tips for recovering after making a mistake while competing and performing? So I thought we'd give this to JT from her extensive background. Oh, just go ahead, JT.
What do you mean my extensive background of mistakes?
Yes.
Thank you for that. I have made plenty. I also feel like you can learn the most from letting yourself just go there, right?
Absolutely.
So when I thought about this, though, I mean, because this is what, I mean, this stifles people's performance on a major level, I think, sometimes when you're either new to competing or you just, some people just have that in them. So I, for one, am not afraid to make a fool of myself, Jonathan. So you're welcome for that.
I'm right there with you.
But I kind of broke this down into two categories. Number one, I think you have to have the right mental preparation for it. And then we'll also talk about the physical preparation for it. So in the mental prep, I think everybody just has to, first of all, realize and come to the understanding that it is not the end of the world. As judges, as competitors, I mean, we've all been there. David Hamilton, can I share a quick little bit about you?
$5.
You got it. I'll throw it on my way, on my drive-by. My first, do you see my cat? My first ever independent competition that I went to outside of the school that I was working for, I saw all the brilliant smooth competitors of my day as I was just starting. And I actually saw you fall down, David. Totally get wiped out on the floor completely. And you just like got back up, you composed yourself, and you went right on with just beautiful, beautiful movement, as though, you know, everything was just fine. So I think we all have to, first of all, remember that we've all been through it at any level. I fell down on my face in the middle of a US championship. Yay. But you got to pick yourself back up and move through it. Knowing how to recover, though, comes from just making sure that you're physically prepped and ready, making sure that you know your routines inside and out. Sometimes it's good to kind of make a dance map for yourself, knowing kind of where things happen on the floor. So if it does disorient you, you can stand up and kind of like see where your surroundings are. Huge tip is to make some eye contact with your partner to help get back on track as a team, because that's usually what can happen, is that we're on different pages. So make sure you do that. And lastly, within the practice end of it, make sure that you do rounds over and over again, and start those rounds not just always at your beginning moment, but start those rounds within different places in all of your routines, so that you can, at any given time, get back up and just make eye contact with that partner and say, okay, we're going from here, got it. And then you can start back into that movement again, and not dwell on the fact that you made the mistake. Again, half the time as seasoned professionals, we're looking to see not that the mistake didn't happen, because that is really inevitable to some degree, but more so, how do you recover from that? Do you let it plague the rest of your performance, or do you just shake it off, as the wonderful Mr. Hamilton did, and give that star quality regardless of what happened? So again, it's not the end of the world, and we've all been there. So just, you got to brush it off and move through it.
That's really, really good advice, JC. Really good. All right, our third question is from Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous. And I think let's give this to Wayne. What is the difference between Dance Vision and Dance Vision Live?
Okay, well, Dance Vision been around since 1992. We have over 5,000 existing videos in every style, and we have memberships in their subscriptions. We started dancevision.live just 2 months ago because of the pandemic, and we wanted to give additional classes with variety of teachers and just a different type of styles, and we want to offer to the community. So that's the biggest difference. At dancevision.live, you can just purchase the lessons one at a time. At dancevision.com, you subscribe to our membership monthly, and you have access to over 5,000 videos.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And Wayne, when will you be starting to open your schedule up for coaching lessons?
Maybe
I'll get back to you on that.
The last time I coached was in 1992.
Oh my God.
Great. So at least we'll have a unique style of coaching. All right, let's go on to question number 4. This is from Lucas. Any wise words for dancers starting their professional smooth journey? Let's have our current US Smooth champions, Nick and Viktorija, answer this one.
We have to unmute ourselves
Yes.
first.
There we go.
So
Go on.
you first,
Um,
ladies first.
sure. I don't think that starting a professional smooth career is any different than starting a professional Latin or ballroom career. You start with first things first, you know, find a good dance partner who you complement each other. And then a great team of coaches, focus on the developing your own style. What kind of style do you think you want to create? You find your role models. We had so many great champions, and we're all very unique and different. So you find the direction that you think you want to pursue, and good luck. I think it's great. Everybody has something to offer, but the first thing is you decide what kind of style you like and what direction you want to develop that.
Makes sense.
I would like to add only one thing: basics, and one more time, basics. It's very easy to get carried away with the creativity and style and performance and stuff like that. But the most important thing is how you managing your body through those motions. Yeah. So basic will be the most important thing.
Yeah, as with
Never
any
ever.
form.
Yeah.
As with any form of dancing, you focus on your basics and build on that.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Now, if I can ask you guys, I know that you still compete quite a bit in ballroom, which really helps the skill of your smooth. What do you have suggestions for, let's say you start in Europe as an amateur, everybody does standard and Latin and then often chooses one or the other. Do you suggest for smooth professionals doing ballroom and smooth and Latin, all three, a little hip hop as well?
I would like to suggest to do contemporary dancing. If you're already dancing, let's say Latin and ballroom, and for some reason, let's say you have a thought of switching to any other style, let's say smooth, yeah, contemporary will help a lot.
Our story is a little unique in that sense. I think we need to kind of like explain where it started. When I met Nick for the first time, he was already a very well-established ballroom dancer, and he was very passionate about the style. And I was completely absorbed with the smooth, so I couldn't see anything but the smooth. And so in order for this partnership to even work, we had to agree to do both styles. So I do ballroom because Nick absolutely loves doing ballroom and he can't live without it. And then he is doing smooth with me because I love the smooth. But I think over the period of time, that arrangement had changed a little bit. I actually understood a lot more about the ballroom, and he brought me to a whole different level, and we had a really successful career with ballroom as well, making a semifinal in Blackpool for the first time out there, which was a huge surprise, and also becoming a 4-time US and world smooth champion. So I think we completed each other's sides there, and we continue doing it because it's important for Nick to do what he loves to do, and I love that with him now. And we love doing smooth together. So there's no need to do one or the other. You can do both, especially since smooth is so dependent on the ballroom basics as well. We use the foundation of the left and right turn and the dance position and moving in and out of different turns.
Sounds perfect. All right, awesome. Thank you, Nick Viktorija. All right, next question from Anonymous again. When you're judging a competition, what's your pet peeve? Anything you absolutely hate to see on the floor, or maybe I should add hate and love to see. And let's have Olga answer this one. Olga, go ahead.
I'll probably divide this for the two ways. One is for students in pro-am competition, the other is for professional only. So when I do students, it'll be nice to see a nice, elegant lady, if she's pro-am lady, with the nice dresses and nice shoes as they always wear. But sometimes I didn't see hair is matching to this style. So sometimes I have like hair like I do have, it look cool and I'll feel beautiful. But when you're in the competition floor, it'll be nice to have some kind of style to it. So it can be just a little, glue some part of the stones, or maybe have some flowers, or have some gel, or make something connected to the dress. So if everything could be together match, that'll be so you can watch this couple better when it's everything proper for the style. And for professional couples, I absolutely kind of stand out and don't like it when it's couple competing against each other, and if they certainly hit each other, and they thinking it's somebody else's fault. So when you catch and hit somebody else, so make sure you will see maybe it's your fault as well. So you cannot find your direction, you're not good in the floor craft. So you need to be kind of apologize and, sorry, and try to find a way to get out of the situation. So sometimes I feel people dancing and ignoring and think it's somebody else's fault. So make sure you will be a gentleman and be graceful to things happen on the floor, because it's our life, it's our things, what we do. And I think the rest probably it's everybody's choice of the style and the hair and makeup and costumes. I think just to be more appreciative and I would say more respect to other people on the floor.
Makes sense. Great advice. Okay, thank you, Olga. All right, so we move on to our next question. This is from Rebecca. Unlike these famous dancers, a big majority of American ballroom students learn later in life, like their 40s and 50s, and can't spend 6 hours in the studio every day practicing. So for us, what is the best way to accelerate your improvement? Let's go ahead and give this to Slawek and Marzena.
Hi guys. So we truly believe that it's not really in the amount of hours that you spend in the studio every day. I would say it's the most important is to have a system and the way you want to practice. So we are very grateful to our coaches who help us to create a system for us. And we always like to share what was working for us. We would do 7 rounds a day. Besides practicing on the little things, we would have only 3 hours a day as a professional couple, because when we competed in Smooth, we already had a son. So that was our limit of the time when he was in the preschool. So as you can see, we were quite successful, really putting 3 hours a day into this practice. Yes? I don't know if somebody asks. And for us, it was basically dividing the time into technical practice and performance practice, and knowing what do you want to do in each round when you are practicing, having a key point into your mind that you are going to do this round, thinking only about, for example, connection, and the next round about maybe foot pressure to the floor, and the next one about performance or dynamics, light, heavy, bound free, just giving a different thoughts and using this round fully to improve. And then we would put time onto each dance to work on the things that didn't work for us. So that was the way we worked together. Maybe you can continue. I took everything.
So really, I will put it sort of in a kind of very, very tight thing together. It's not about quantity, but it's about quality. So, always be very clear in your mind what you want to practice, and be very clear. So have a purposeful practice, basically. Don't just go and spend, 6 hours in the studio and just think, okay, you've spent so much time, so it's going to work. No, you have to be smart what you're practicing and stick to it. So find good coaches who you're going to have a good chemistry with. They will help you with, organizing your practice. So it's work for us, but for you guys, you might have some different structure, right? But always have a structure how you want to have your practice. And I would say the last thing, everything what's valuable has some time involved. So don't expect miracles in a short time. So be patient with your practice, and results will come at some point.
That makes a lot of sense. And I can't even make myself a cup of coffee right now, only having 2 kids. I have no idea how you guys manage to be champions and practice.
Having parents for sure helps.
Yeah, the biggest thing for us was definitely that our parents decided to help us out when the first Palm Springs happened and we won it. They sit down and they basically changed their life to help us out. and they were flying back and forth. We did 4 comps in a row, then we were sitting for 4 weeks in the studio practicing, and then we would go again, do 4 competitions in a row. So it was a lot of scheduling, a lot of family help. Obviously everything got better when Lucas went to preschool and he was already 3, and we could practice those 3 hours because we still didn't want to put him into for a longer time in the preschool. But I think when you dream about something and you really put this into your mind, you can achieve anything. You just have to believe in yourself, choose the best team of coaches that believe in you. And with that team and your dedicated practice, you can basically achieve anything that you want to have in your life.
Well, still amazing. All right. Thank you so much, Marzena. Great advice. All right. Our next question is another one from Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous. They've asked a lot of questions today. When you're judging older dancers in a competition, it says I'm 70, does your criteria change? Clearly, we can't be as athletic as younger dancers. So are there other attributes you value most? I think I'm going to go ahead and answer this myself. I think all judges judge basically on their own personal opinion criteria. That's why you can sometimes get so many different results or marks or opinions as you go through there. But I think there's certain standard ones that everyone takes into value. For me personally, when I look at someone dancing, I want to see them dancing to the best of their ability. So whatever amount that is, that's what I'm looking for you to do. If I've seen you competing before or a lesson and I know how flexible you are, if you can do this many turns, and I'm watching you at the competition, that's kind of what I'm expecting to see as you go through. I think general easy ones that you can do regardless of any age pretty much, or even as your body starts to not be as able to do as much as you were when you're younger, is things like footwork and posture. Those are just generalizations that really in any dance style that you can maintain a high level and do correctly, so that you satisfy the basic fundamentals that all judges are going to look for when they're dancing. I remember once I danced with a pro-am partner of mine who had had back surgery, and she had a fused spine and a metal rod in it. So for her stretching backwards, the most she could possibly do was about 1 inch. So our goal together was just in every turn and every position and every shape that we did, she always maintained that maximum, even though it was only 1 inch amount, so that we never lost the spacing as we danced, but she kept that same size of picture. So I would just look realistically at what you can do and what your body allows you to do and dance to the maximum of that physical ability, and then just pay attention to the basic essentials of what each dance or style requires.
Jonathan, I don't think you knew that I was on here. Sorry, I guess my name was something different.
Oh.
I was like, you decided to answer the one I prepared already for.
Hi, Ed.
Sorry about that.
I didn't, this was supposed to be directed to Edward Simon, but I didn't see his name on there, so I took it myself. So would you like to actually answer this now? Sorry, Eddie.
Yes, no, that's okay. I was like, wait a minute, he's taking my question. First of all, I'm so glad to be here with everyone and glad Smooth is going worldwide. I was excited this morning. I worked with a whole group of people from different parts of Finland. So I know everyone on here is doing things all over the world. I think that's exciting. So hats off to everyone. So yeah, Jonathan said many great things, but I'm really glad I did get this question because we have to remember that a lot of the Pro-Am is really the backbone of our industry. And so I don't count yourself. It's so important in the industry. And without you, we wouldn't have the pro purses. So thank you very much for being part of our industry. And a lot of it was what he said, we're really looking at the same elements as far as basic techniques. So you want to get those basic techniques down because without that, nothing else can really work, as everyone has said so far. But of course, we don't expect the same amount of, Jonathan said, the flexibility, maybe speed, but there's many things you can do. So you want to get those basics down and improve your physical challenges as much as possible, and then concentrate on maybe another area that makes you special. What makes your dancing special? After the basics, what else can you do that someone else doesn't have? What else do you have that makes you special? And I think it's important to think that, yes, we want to get the basics down. We want to get look at what other champions have done. But I would like to, no one has become champion trying to dance the way everyone else wants them to dance.
I haven't got any notes that you actually approved it.
Okay, so, well, thank you very much. And over to you, Jonathan.
Well, I mean, whoever decided to leave.
I think that's really, really great advice.
I'm acting on.
All right, so let's move on to another question from this time Mrs. Anonymous. What is Global Smooth System? The smoothies want to know. Let's give this to Toni Redpath.
Okay, am I off mute?
You're good, yep.
Okay, awesome. All right, so hi everybody. Thank you to everybody who's joined this panel. We're inspired by all of you. Grateful that we're on this journey together, bringing smooth to the world. And Michael and Jonathan and I have been very blessed and fortunate to travel the world over the past few years before the whole Corona thing happened, to share our passion of the style and to really promote it. And the two big questions that we get are, what is smooth and how do I teach it / how do we judge it? So we've tried to answer those questions with the Global Smooth System. So that's part one. Part two is just a few years ago, I was very fortunate to team up with Laurie Woods-Gay. The NDCA Invigilation Committee kind of asked us or tasked us with this big project of, could we define what the rules are and how to kind of categorize the differences between the bronze and the silver and gold and what's allowed at each level. So we took this opportunity and we decided, instead of writing a list of patterns that were all based on social dancing, so it wasn't big long patterns that started and finished with the left foot, what we wanted to do, and Eddie Simon was a big inspiration for me on this, is we wanted to look at elements. So we devised the syllabus elements chart, and what that is really just a concise list of progressively building elements that have building blocks that build from bronze through silver through you can see by the time you get to the open level how things have built. Also, when possible, Laurie and I, we tried to use international terminology. So we're not throwing away the original terminology, but waterfall for us is handshake, hold, promenade, and counter promenade, twinkles. So we would describe it with the hold or with the position so that anybody could understand it, to make it a little bit more easy to understand for the international community. Our biggest mission statement was we wanted it to be very lead and follow. We wanted to have obvious progression building blocks from bronze through silver to gold. And our main goal was we wanted a child that learnt their smooth in, say, Russia or England to be able to pair up with a child who learnt their smooth from Asia or Australia, and to easily be able to communicate with each other and dance together beautiful syllabus smooth without calling it different names and being confused by the style. So that was part one. So Global Smooth System has really basically built a whole teaching system around this chart. We've got an incredible team of people. Nick and Victoria and myself, we have done a huge series of videos of translating what is American smooth into international smooth language. So explaining, okay, change steps are in line, but twinkles are a change step that change position into different, you know, outside partner or promenades. So we're trying to communicate with the global community what is international smooth. With Yegor and Sasha, we broke down each chart element to show the building blocks from bronze to silver to gold so that the open was obvious. For the open level, we had the fantastic Jonathan Roberts. That's the last time I'll ever say that, Jonathan. Thanks for sending the script. Jonathan Roberts with Selena Johnson demonstrating the open elements. And then I've done a whole series of drills building any level of smooth dancer from all the way from novice through to elite level professional. I've done some drills so that you can maximize your potential as a dancer. And all of this is going to be wrapped up. Our final project is we are going to combine the Global Smooth System Elements chart with the Dance Vision syllabus, so that Dance Vision syllabus has the same international smooth terminology and the same elements list rather than the long social patterns that we're used to in the past. So that's what the mission statement of Global Smooth System is make smooth more approachable for the world to be able to, you know, everybody loves smooth, so we want to make it easy for everybody to dance smooth.
That's awesome.
We're going to be able to, sorry, Jonathan, we're going to be able to send out a link for a beta page, web page, where you can get the chart and everything. People could go and check it out to start with during this next week.
You can contact us through Facebook, our Global Smooth System, Facebook.
But we know everybody who's come to this particular seminar, so we'll send out that information to everybody so they can go and check it out.
It's great. So there might actually be hope for me in the future. All right.
No, don't mute me. Don't mute me.
So our next question is from Parker. What is the biggest challenge for a Latin or rhythm dancer trying smooth for the first time? And let's give this to Yegor and Sasha, who both formerly Latin dancers and 10 dancers as well, and now doing smooth. Go ahead, guys.
I'll go after Sasha, I think.
Well, okay. For me, well, I didn't do a Latin so much, only when I was a kid, maybe till like my teens, still 16, but then I started.
Hey, Jonathan, you have a Latin experience yourself. Maybe while we're waiting for Sasha and Yegor to rejoin us, you can share from your personal experience on how it was converting from Latin into smooth.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
I have on my tapachki now, so I feel warm and comfortable. So actually for me, and Jason, you just let us know when Yegor and Sasha are back. We'll jump to the next question when we come back to them. So real quickly to give them a moment, I actually started with smooth when I first started dancing. Didn't have too much idea of what I was doing, but did about 2 years of smooth, and then switched to Latin for 8 or 9 years, and continued having, I think, had full ballroom routines, wanted to do 10 dance, but just never had time to actually get out on the floor and do the standard. And then everyone that saw my standard actually said, don't. So that was probably the biggest reason. But I think everything I learned in the Latin, just as far as the same mechanics that we learn as anyone is dancing, is what really helped develop the idea of smooth and the idea of the spine and all the different actions and isolations you can do. You know, anytime we open up and smooth, that's basically what we're doing is smooth Latin, we can say. Let's go ahead and go on. It seems like we're good now. Let's go to our next question, and then when Yegor and Sasha can come back, we'll go to them. So anyway, so sorry everybody for this. Thank you for staying with us, and let's just move on and keep learning from these great champions. So, all right, our next question is from Rebecca. As a style, other than being an important thing that separates smooth from standard. And why don't we give this to Teresa Shiry?
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
All right,
Go ahead,
all right.
Teresa.
All right, thank you for having me here with all these wonderful professionals. That's an honor. So, yeah, this is not an easy question to answer because, of course, the obvious answer is that in smooth we get to separate, where standard they have to stay together, as we all know. But again, so what I kind of wrote down here is what separates the two styles is, again, smooth has just endless possibilities and a lot more freedom. You know, and with that, and to add to that, let's say that. So in American smooth, there's like 3 major parts, and maybe there's more than that, but I just wrote down the 3. So in American smooth, if you want to be American smooth dancer, you have to have a lot of flexibility, maybe perhaps like from ballet. You should have some good training on your body isolations and dance connection with your partner, like if from the Latin world. And then finally, your disciplines and foundation and understanding of dance hold from the international standard. So you have 3 divisions that will really help you to be a good American smooth dancer. But with that said, I think though, I think Nick said this, basics. The American smooth and the international style have the same foundational techniques. So they really do complement one another. Really, you should have a good understanding of standard before you go to your American smooth. Not always necessary, but it is very helpful. You know, and I think someday with American Smooth being worldwide, that, and I know there's been talk about not calling it American anymore, it's called Smooth. I always thought that there should be closed ballroom, which is currently international standard, and open ballroom, which is American Smooth. So that they really are just kind of the same division. One you get to open up, one you stay closed. Something to that effect, but it's just exciting to be a part of this world. I was just so glad that I picked Smooth as my dance of choice, I guess, sort of accidentally many years ago. But anyway, I think that's all I have to say about that. And thank you so much for listening.
Teresa, great thoughts. Okay, let's move on to our next question from Mr. Anonymous again. Why are we taught or allowed to dance on the beat in bronze level smooth and then off the beat in silver and gold level? I suppose it gives the effect of smoothly gliding, but I find as a musician who plays drums and reads notation, it does not always make sense to me. Let's go ahead and give this to Michael Mead.
There we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Once he unmutes.
All good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So why are we taught to dance on the beat in bronze and then off the beat in silver and gold? Actually, I think we have to look at the overall objective of the dancer and dancing, which is to interpret the music and the emotional message it sends to basically be the physical manifestation of the music. And that's what the instructor is trying to teach you to do. But at the different levels of dancing, there are different expectations. So for example, just taking a musical example, if I sang Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star as a pre-newcomer singer, I would very definitely emphasize having the noise come out of my mouth on each particular beat of the music. But if you got Christina Aguilera to sing the same song, she has a whole different range of tools, level of expertise that she can bring to bear on the interpretation, and it would be a very, very different product. So coming back to the bronze level, the expectations of the dancers of bronze level is that they won't have the skill set developed yet to really be interpretive when it comes to the music being played. So ideally what will happen at the bronze level is you're looking to minimize distortion by being clean and accurate, and when it comes to the weight transfers, being on the beat with the weight transfers. It's a different expectation when it comes to silver, gold, and then into the open levels, where the dancers have a greater range, they have more tools in their box. They can actually bring a more legato interpretation of the music, which means playing with the accenting of the rhythm, sometimes more staccato, sometimes more sustained. And
can everybody hear me?
We're back in?
You're back.
Yeah,
okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, go ahead, Michael, finish up.
So when so
I think we've got some internet problems from Toni.
I think their internet's a little bad right now.
All right. Well, later we will have Michael and Toni sing a duet of "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" and post it on Facebook, so we can all better understand the music. But I think that's a great example. Thank you, Michael. Okay, let's move on to next question. This is from Martha. The majority of my students have not returned to the studio. Can you share some smooth specific exercises and drills that they could do in small spaces to practice? Let's give this to Mr. David Hamilton himself.
Hello, everyone.
Take it away, Dave.
Hello. Well, let me start.
We can hear you now. Yep, go ahead.
All right, great. So let me first by, letting everybody know that we're all feeling the same pain, having to stay at home and not being into the studio and doing our normal thing. And so I'm just hoping that everybody's, you know, able to find some things in some ways to keep their dancing, you know, going in their body and in their mind during this process. But the first thing that come to my mind is this is a perfect opportunity for us to find the time and the ability, you know, being at home, to be as physically fit as possible. I think that center and core training is probably one of the most important assets of becoming a good dancer. And I think that unfortunately with our students out there, and I understand, you know, the pain that a lot of people are feeling, they didn't start dancing till they were 40 or 50, that, you know, core strengthening and center training is just of the utmost importance. So to try to develop some type of abdominal, you know, exercise that you can work with to start developing a little bit more core training and core understanding, I think is crucial for everyone. But there was a couple of mentions about isolations. The smooth has gotten, you know, to the point that if you don't understand the different body parts and how these body parts work for you, I don't know how you're going to be able to find, you know, the ability for you to be able to create more volume in your dancing, more shape in your dancing, more musicality in your dancing if you don't understand your body. And so I think one of the things that I would like to advise everyone to do is to pull out a muscular chart, study these muscles, and start being able to develop an understanding of isolation of these muscles, how you can separate the activity of one muscle to another muscle, your lats and your back versus your oblique muscles versus your rhomboids versus your hamstrings versus your glutes. We have all of these different body parts. Yes, they all need to be working at the same time, but they may have something very different to do. And so if we don't have enough body awareness as to how to make these muscles function to create all of the artistic expression, and Nick had talked about contemporary dancing. So you look at all of the different styles of dancing that are out there, there is a certain image that the body has to take to produce the style. And so without this body awareness and not knowing how to send messages to the muscles, to get the muscles to react, to do the things that we're wanting them to do, we're going to struggle with the overall imagery. And I think that, you know, sometimes the vision of what we want to do might be clear, but we're not 100% sure how to create that vision physically. And if we don't know what message to send to the body to get a particular muscle to react, then I don't know how you're going to be able to bring your vision to fruition. I mean, it's the same thing as an artist. There's a visual that they have in their minds. They know how to do the painting. They know what brushes to use to create the image that they're wanting to create. And so I just think it's a really good opportunity for everybody to pull out a chart, study your body, understand all of these different body parts to be able to create the imagery in your body that you want to create.
Awesome. Really, really good advice. Thank you, David.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. A couple more questions here from Anonymous again. What kinds of non-dance training helps the most for smooth? I think the fabulous Tatiana should answer this one. Go ahead, Tanya.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
But you don't see me. I don't see that I'm on it. Oh, hello, everybody. I wanted to make an entrance. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to see all of your beautiful faces. And I don't want this little thing to get into your mood. So I'm going to share with you my positivity. Please, you know, stay safe, and thank you again, Dance Vision, for giving us this opportunity to reconnect with each other. Regarding the question about non-dance training, I think that the self-development is basically the main key to succeed in any type of sport, any type of business, and therefore any physical training you want to add to your regular practices. It might be yoga, it might be a bar, it might be gym. So anything what can build on top of something from your regular basis would be helpful for your development, for your stamina, for your vision.
what I would like to share from my personal perspective, I also loved to get the inspiration from different types of art, from different concerts or different you know, actors, how they look into the things. So I was basically hunting for inspiration. That again gave me a different perception on the art, on the vision, and that again gives you that extra power to get going and to build something new, something fresh. And I encourage everybody to try to do something else in their life, what makes them happy. And remember that we dance because we love doing that. Obviously, we have different reasons for that, but by the end of the day, we want to be the best in something what we do. And I wish you luck in your beginnings or your future or your continuation. Thank you.
Great. Okay, let's go ahead. Our last question we're actually going to give to every single person here lecturing. And the question was, from Anonymous again, for each panelist, when you began a string of successful first place finishes or a big jump in your results, what was one thing that made a difference from good to great? So I think that's a fantastic question. Let's just go through the list, and I'll just call your name out and try to answer in a few sentences. Olga, go ahead. What do you feel?
Well, it's hard to say only one thing because it started when I was younger. So I think the first time I remember I was in the first grade and we had gymnastics teacher come to our class and she asked everybody to do push-ups. So I did the push-ups. Some people push-ups 1 or 2 or 3 times. I think I did about 14 times. She dropped me, said it's enough. So I think that's kind of, you know, start with in the backside, not really like when you're competing and you on the final is something it make you to win. I think start in the younger age when you something happened in your life and something is moving us to do more. Of course, you know, further down, it's important, I think, for us to practice. So when you practice, no matter what, the more you practice, the more you exercise, I think is better. Practice can be not just a going running, also it can be exercise, not just in the dance floor, exercise your brain, exercising, you're watching the movie, as Tatiana said, you learning different acting, you developing your skills. But I think my success is coming from, of course, David Hamilton. That's my best partner. So to find the right partner, it's make a big difference.
Okay, do push-ups and find David Hamilton.
Right, yes.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and go to David? Go ahead. What would be your answer?
Well, you know, my answer to, I mean, it is a fabulous question. And I think that, when we start crossing over and start having the success that we want to, I think that it's because you're feeling confidence in the knowledge that you have. And I think that we struggle sometimes that we worry too much about what we don't know instead of concentrating on what we know. And so if what you know is getting you to that point where you're getting the success and you're crossing over, then the worst thing that you can do is start questioning it. Take it and run with it. Don't worry about what you don't know at this point. What you do know is working for you. Concentrate on that. Don't lose focus of that, and enjoy the moment that all of the work that you've put into it to be able to get to that point, to be able to survive and enjoy your success and have 100% belief in yourself and the knowledge that you have, and don't ever question it.
Great answer. All right, Tanya, what would your answer be?
Okay. So I would say accepting, hello again. I would say accepting the fact that you will never satisfy everybody in this world, that you would always have the people who like you and people who, I wouldn't use the word hate you, don't like you, or would be on a different path. You need to commit to yourself, to your desires, to your vision, because nothing is permanent in this life, even the result. If you've got the great result, it doesn't mean you're gonna keep on doing it. And you know, it's gonna be your path. It's gonna be like that in dancing, in life, in everything what you do. And at some point, you have to remain selfish to stay to your stakes, to stay to your desires, and don't doubt yourself. And just, you know, stay with that thoughts, stay with truth to yourself in your narrow path. And that usually, if you fight through that, that gives you that consistency in life, in the results. And again, remember, be yourself and stay true to yourself. That's what
Great advice. Thank you, Tanya. Okay, next, let's go to, again, our current champions. Let's hear from Nick and Viktorija.
Well, first of all, I would like to completely agree with Olga. Find the right partner. That's the most important thing, because Viktorija and I, we were semi-finalists before we start to dance together. But since we start to dance together, we get into the final right away. Yeah. And from my perspective, we didn't really have a huge jump, right? But we have like a bunch of little hops. So we did it little by little by little. Yeah. And I would like to say that you have to let what you do the best shine the most.
I'm gonna just answer that from my perspective. Actually, I have a bit of a question about the question, because in this question, there are two things that are mixed together. There are things you can control and the things you can't control. So you think you cannot control the result. It's in a judge's hands. It's on a day when it's being decided how you performed on a particular competition. And then the things you can control, which is the time you spend in the studio, the plan that you design for yourself, how you practice, as Slawek and Marzena mentioned before, finding the right team. And those are the things you can control, and those are the things you should focus on. And right before today's meeting, I actually was telling people, do you even remember the time when it happened? Because for me, it was, I'm always trying to do what I can today, maximize the time for the practice and what we're trying to achieve with that. And self-critical I am, and so I always find like a little things that I don't like, and I think Toni will agree with me when I come into the studio and I say I don't like anything. I want to change this, 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 and this. And so I'm always so indulged and completely consumed in the moments what I am trying to do with myself, that walking and teaching my students, I am reviewing my basics. You know, when I reach for the cup in the cabinet, I'm thinking, okay, how can I expand my rib cage even more and expand without getting up on my toes? So it becomes like a lifestyle. It's all completing. Everything that you do is becoming like a dance and passion, and you can't live without it. And that's what you focus on, and that's what you do every day. And then the result is something that happens when people recognize your passion for it and your love with it, and they appreciate what you do, and they can see a little bit of themselves in you. So when you come out to the competition and you perform, and they can understand what you're feeling on how hard it was to achieve this particular action, the technical aspect of it, the expression, how hard it is to maintain a good partnership and stay well organized in your connection and relationship too. So I think those are the things that you want to divide: the things you can control, the things that depend on you, and the things you cannot control. And don't spend time thinking about those things you can't control, because you can't do anything about the negatives.
That makes a lot of sense. Really good advice. Let's go ahead. I think we have Yegor and Sasha back here after the hacking. Guys, we're so sorry about that. Everybody got hacked and all kinds of messages sent. So anyway, we're glad you're here with us. Yegor, just making sure you got the sound on. Can we hear you?
Yeah, I think the sound's on. Everyone can hear us?
Yeah, you want to go ahead and answer the original question again, and then you could maybe...
Let me go with this question, and then maybe if we have time, we can return to the other one. Well, first of all, hello everybody, and of course we are glad to be a part of it and to see where it's gonna go, where the American Smooth is gonna go. And regarding the excellence in the dancing, I truly believe we can express something truly and deeply when it's familiar to us. We can be expressive, we cannot be honest, we cannot be deep if we're trying to express something what is not truly something what we're not truly familiar with, whether it's feeling or the idea, or an idea can be very complicated, but it's easy for you. It makes sense for you, and expressing that idea will be, I think, the excellence, because it cannot go wrong. Together with this, of course, we do need to study our basics, because this is going to be our anchor. This is going to be our something we can count on when things don't go smoothly, when things are going out of the emotional, maybe something knocks us out of emotional balance. But technique obviously will always help us to have that backup plan, I would say. But to be excellent, we do need to connect to ourselves, and I do believe it all comes from within. And study yourself, spend some time with yourself, see where it's going to take you. And for me, the dancing started, American Smooth actually started when I just came to Olga's studio. It was 16 years ago. At that time, I only danced Latin, but always on the shows, Olga encouraged us to dance smooth as well. So it was just a great experience, because at that moment, you're not competing, you're not thinking what's right, what's wrong, you're just experiencing things. And then it forms your own view on things, and your own opinion, your own desires, your own path. And then as you start studying, I think over time, all unnecessary stuff peels away, and then you left with the most sincere and true and magnificent dancing.
That makes sense. Awesome, Yegor. Thank you. Sasha, you want to add anything, or Yegor took all the thoughts?
You have to have a fierce confidence in what you do. And I think the confidence mostly comes from joy. You have to find a joy in your dancing, in your body, in the movement that you do. It will make you confident. And because I think our result mostly depended on our confidence when we're on the floor. But without joy, there is no confidence.
Oh, that's really, really good. Awesome. Thank you, Sasha. Okay, let's go on to, let's go to Toni and Michael. Go ahead, guys. Maybe I'll just read the question again here. You know, it's turned into like a broad answer here, but when you began your string of successful first place finishes or a big jump in your results or career, what was one thing that made the difference from good to great?
The biggest difference for me is I'd never really had confidence in myself, because I feel like my partners didn't have confidence in me. So I was very lucky and blessed when I got with Michael. I feel like he had confidence in me that I didn't even have. He saw something in me that I didn't know I had. So that was really huge. So thank you, honey. And then because of that confidence, and our results, I feel like, started getting better, but also Michael was very big on mutual respect. And knowing that we brought two completely different things to the partnership, and two completely different sets of strengths. So instead of fighting each other and like trying to make the other person do their strengths, we respected each other's differences. And we got a sports psychologist that gave us a very clear system on how to practice to make sure neither of us felt like we didn't have a voice at any time. So our sports psychologist gave us a lot of structure to our practice to make sure I would have time to be I'm very physical and need to dance a lot and have to do a lot of performance rounds. Michael is more analytical and technical and wants to think things through and have his own time and pace. So we had to structure our practice to make sure that we would get the best out of each other. And I honestly feel like when we got that balance right, it was never perfect, but that's when the results shot up, because we were determined to get the best out of each other because of that mutual confidence in each other and mutual respect.
And I think the awareness that we all dance because it makes us feel something. We want to express the feeling inside of ourselves when we hear the music playing. is super important. That's the ultimate objective, is to send that out to the audience. But to be professional enough to know that as important as the emotions are, they have to be channeled and used at the appropriate times, which is not necessarily when you're practicing. So make sure you channel them. You think about what you're doing. You just don't react to things.
Yeah, that makes sense a lot. Okay, let's hear from Slawek and Marzena. Take it away from Poland.
So for me, the difference was that I stopped thinking about the result. Because before in the past, when we used to do 10 dance, we always had to think, we have to do well, we have to, win. And that really stopped us from actually dancing. So there was the competition and the stress related to it. It actually killed the joy of dancing. So when we decided to dance smooth, we said we would do it because of fun. We want to have fun competing. We want to have fun dancing. So just like I said, taking the whole result out of our head and just focusing on that particular moment and just enjoying it because it never happened again, it make a huge difference.
Yeah, and I truly believe it was, like Toni said, it was the system that actually Toni and Maximilian offered to us to help because we both are very technical. Actually, both of us, we would spend endless hours on doing one figure when we did 10 dance, and maybe that one figure was amazing, but then we were not, the rest wasn't that great. And this was so much easier for us to still develop technical aspects in our dancing, but still learn how to perform under pressure. And I think when we found this balance between the technique and performance, that's when actually we were much more free on the competitions. I was always nerve-wracking on the competitions. I was always stressing out. I had to chat to people, but that system that we were offering with the practices actually made us believe that if we can do this 7 times a day, it doesn't matter how tired we were dancing pro-am, having kids, and we can deliver the same product and even better when there is a live music and you feel this moment on the floor. That's when we felt we can deliver our minimum to every competition, which allowed us to win all those competitions. But I truly believe it's basically a great system that we were offered. And then we both said, as long as we enjoy, we will compete in American Smooth. And then we decided to have a second kid, so we stopped. But
I understand.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. And if you don't have a joy, I don't believe you will ever dance to your maximum.
Because like Yegor said, you have to be honest to yourself and to what you do. Because if you don't believe what you're doing, you cannot convince others to believe it.
And that's what Tanya said before as well, that you will have people that love you and you will have people that will love somebody else on a competition floor. And it's your job to love what you have to offer to everybody that much that people will actually mark you. And I think every person, every champion that went, we all had marks that they were from 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 6 at some point when we were starting or maybe in the middle of our career. And it was our job through the passion and love we had to convince those judges to start loving us too, that they were not really our biggest fans at the beginning.
That's great. So as everybody can hear, we have a lot of champions that love themselves so far. This is
we do. Smooth.
just look in the mirror during practice. Let's go to Teresa Shiry next to answer this great question.
Okay, I'm back.
Yep.
Well, first of all, I would say for me personally, I never competed. If my partner put the pressure on me to say, oh, we need to win 3rd place tonight. We were 4th place last year. That never worked for me. It only created tension in my body and I didn't dance well. So I never competed. As time went on, through hard work and practice and great coaches, and my confidence level kept soaring. to where it was, when I was dancing, it was second nature. When you can just go out there and dance with just pure joy and the fun of performing for an audience. So you're bringing the audience into what you love, which brings you such joy. That's when things changed big time. And I just have to say one little thing. When David and I won our championship, of course, we were under a lot of pressure towards the end of our dance career to win that first place championship, you know, keep striving for perfection. Well, the perfection was killing us. And a famous coach said to us, maybe more specifically David, he goes, if you don't entertain me, well, first of all, he says, I don't care how perfect you are. If you don't entertain me, I'm not going to mark you. And I think we won shortly after that. So that's what works for me. So
great advice. Great advice. Let's go ahead and go back to Jim and Jenell Maranto. What would your guys' personal answer be to this?
Okay. Shall I go first, Jim? Can you hear me? This is Jim. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Jenell.
Hi, everybody. Well, Jim and I, we pretty much started from scratch. And we were dancing together for quite a long time before we were getting professional results. So I think we just actually got better. But I would say if I were to choose one thing, there's so many things, it's hard to choose one, but I'll give you one that sort of stands out in my mind, that we were working on perfecting and performing the characteristic of each dance. We felt that our results started improving and we started taking first place a lot when that was one of our main focuses, or at least that's how I felt. Like say, for example, the Rise and Fall and Waltz, trying to make it look like the music and feel like the music, tracking and gliding in the foxtrot and sharpness, making tango actually look like a tango, which I think is kind of hard to do in American style. But so if we're giving advice, my advice would be don't give up. We knew we would never give up. We were going to win. And even if we were the last ones out there, and we'd be the only ones, of course we were going to win. We'd be the only ones there. So I think just hard practice. I'm handing it over to Jim.
Makes sense. Go for it, Jim.
Okay. So the question is the moment of good to great, which is like everyone's trying to find that as athletes or artists. And I think for me, and I've done a lot of reading on the psychology of sports, that good to great occurs when there is consistency. And consistency is produced by mindful repetition of a particular skill. And I think everybody today has shared that advice. I could summarize it in a few lines. Never be a copy, be true to yourself, use basic skills to free up the creativity that you want to express, and most importantly, train your brain. The body is a tool, but it's controlled fully by your thoughts. So that's good to go.
That's really good, Jim. Thank you. And have a great twinkle, of course, too.
And have a great twinkle, yeah.
Right. Okay, we got two more answers here. So Eddie, Mr. Edward Simon, go ahead. What would be your personal answer here?
Well, I'm loving all these answers. They are all perfect. For me personally, I put it into two different sections of my career. One would be the rising star. And that was when I just kept working on, of course, the basics in the beginning, but I became obsessed with my awareness of my body outside of practice as well as in practice. And it was funny, she mentioned the other day about reaching up, Viktorija reach up. I still today, every time I reach up, feel my core initiating and my body spiraling up. Being aware of walking, every single moment being aware of your body. And I was just concentrating on awareness of my body. I was concentrating on all of that in the rising star. And all of a sudden, I found myself in the final of the standard and rising star in Ohio. And I didn't know how I got there. It was like wonderment. Like, how did this happen? But I wasn't thinking about that result. I was thinking about this, my job, my awareness and my thing. And the second part would be in the open level. And it happened about just really trying to create, clarifying my artistic vision and what that meant to do, what I wanted to perform. And I'll never forget, a judge came up to me and said, you know, I've never really understood what you're doing, and now I get it. And that's when that result jumped up, is when I finally was able, it wasn't everyone else, it was me. I had to clarify really what I wanted to show. And I'll leave you with the thing I said earlier, is no one has ever become champion trying to dance what everyone else wants them to dance.
That's brilliant. All right, our last answer here from JT.
Hi. Mine is short and sweet. I think that everybody gave some amazing advice. I think all of those are great tools to have. My biggest thing, similar to Teresa, was ultimately, you got to give them a good show. So every time we walked out on the floor, right before we went out, we just looked at each other and said, let's give them a good show. And we didn't try to win the title or the championship or an event. We just thought about performing. So all that practice came in and we gave them a good show.
Thank you, JT. I think I so agree with all the answers. And I think listening to everyone, if I can take away two, it would be believing in yourself and having joy. And I think those are great things that someone of any level or any style or any ability can do in their dancing. I just want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch us and listen, and all the great questions we got. Thank you to all the amazing champions and lecturers that gave your wisdom. Thank you to Wayne and Dance Vision and Global Smooth System for putting this together. We hope to do this again. This was really fun. Let's go Smoothment. We just want to say have a great day, everybody. Thank you so, so much. And we'll see you on the dance floor soon.
Before we end this, I want to thank you, Jonathan, for being an amazing host. So let's give a clap to Jonathan. But what I learned from this, everyone, I want you to do one thing. Hug, put your arms. If you love yourself and hug yourself more, you're going to be a champion. So
Yeah, go
I
John.
don't love myself enough. So let's just love yourself, and
that's what I'm doing for 10 years, just loving myself. Doesn't help to be a champion.
Stay tuned for the next Dance Vision series called Love Yourself, one-on-one, you in the mirror.
I can give that lesson, Jonathan. So just message me and we can book that lesson for 45 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Great day. Thank you, Wayne.
Bye, everyone. Have
Thank
a
you, John.
day.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.